Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with Rwandair today. Rwandair, the safest airline in Africa.
Rwandair, fly the dream of Africa.
Thank you so much, the panelists and the keynote speakers. Right now, we are going into our third panel discussion, which is going to tackle, indeed, like Charles Odontho just mentioned, beyond agribusiness and sustainable economic solution. How can Africa capitalize on its agribusiness sector as a sustainable human and economic solution? That's a very big question. So allow me to introduce to you the moderator of this very panel. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Uganda Development Forum, the CEO Emeritus of Uganda Agribusiness Alliance, UAA. He has over 25 years of professional experience gained in both the UK and Uganda, providing strategic support in form of technical assistance and advisory services to SMEs and large-scale corporations, financial institutions, and the government. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome our moderator for this panel, our third panel, Edward Katende. Please come forth. He's going to introduce to us his panel, and it will be a swift one because he's going to lead us to lunch. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. It is really tight. Our session is about agribusiness, which is basically the source of food, and it is time for food. So the people who are responsible for food are standing between you and your lunch. So we want to make it as quick as possible. So I will not waste time. I will invite my team to join us on the floor. I will not go into the introductions. They will quickly introduce themselves to save time, and then go into the main part of our conversations. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite Dr. Edward Isingoma Masiko from Uganda. I'm doing this very quickly. Allow me to also invite Mrs. Josephine Mukumbya from Uganda. We have other panelists who are joining us virtually. I have Florence Nagawa. I think he's here? Yeah, Florence. Thank you. And then Miss Beatrice Gakuba from Rwanda. Virtual. Then Dr. Abu Sakara from Ghana. I think he's also joining us virtually. So each of our panelists will introduce themselves to save time. We will give them about 2 minutes each to tell us about themselves and a little bit about the subject on how can Africa capitalize on its agribusiness sector as a sustainable human and economic solution. So allow me to invite Dr. Isingoma to make his keynote speech, and then we will continue with the conversation for the next 45 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very, very, very pleased to speak about a topic I love so much, because I think I have, the last 20 years of my life, done agri-business impact investing. And I think that's what I love to do. So I'll not go into a lot of technicalities. I'll not spend a lot of time talking about myself. I am Edward Isingoma. I manage a business called Pearl Capital Partners. I can believe that many of you would have seen us or heard about us pioneering agri-impact investing in East Africa. So I did prepare, and I'll take a few minutes to just, in 5 minutes, make a few reality checks through short presentation slides. And then I will form an opinion about some of the intricacies of some of what has been talked about by previous speakers and what goes on in practice. Because I think many times we talk about agribusiness, we talk about equalities, we talk about ourselves as Africans, but then try to do things an African way. So I feel I will use the 15 minutes by the first half going through a bit of reality checks, what happens in practice. My predecessors have already talked about policy, government, partnerships, COVID. We've had all that, and there's no point in repeating it. So I'll just go straight to some of the reality checks. In the first slide, there are just a few slides. I need us to think about, does anybody here think that that truck could have been in Europe or the US? Even your children in primary school, lower kindergarten, will tell you that is African. Isn't that so? Now think about, this is what is in the news. Think about what is the value, the real money value of the agribusiness sector in Africa. There is research. It's clearly $1 trillion or even more in valuation. In this slide, I decided to share the silos, the post-harvest handling, for a project that I've invested in Uganda. These silos, I participated in investing the money, in setting them up, but that business that owns them can keep its raw material for up to 13 months without worrying about raw material supply for their poultry. The next slide, again, it's a reality check. Sub-Saharan Africa is a net importer of food. Whether it is macarons that some of our young people like to eat, whether it is the wheat, somebody mentioned about Rolex, even whether it is the chicken. The gap there is way over $40 billion. Think about the size of who we are. With only 4 countries constituting 95% of Sub-Saharan Africa, the countries in red, we still have a food deficit. Again, my immediate previous speaker did say, in West Africa, the African Continental Free Trade Area is becoming more embraced. But again, it's not disappointing. We've got to get there, and that's the opportunity. If we were, and research has it, if we were to increase food productivity by only 2 to 3x, 2 to 3 times, all we need to do is not to increase the size of the land. All we need to do is not to increase how many smallholder farmers are actually cultivating and spending their days and nights, how many women and youth out there are spending time farming, but it's about yields and productivity from our smallholder farmers. Now, again, these are facts that large international consulting firms have spent time researching about. In the interest of time, I'm not going through the details, but I want to get some of these things as reality checks as we think about some of the conclusions this panel is going to make or share shortly. In this slide, I thought I should mention about what are some of the things we can do, whether it's the public sector, whether it's the private sector. There are so many, but what are some of the things we can do to just increase yields and access to markets? Inputs, it's a topic that has been talked about. Fertilizer and hybrid seed usage through smallholder farmers. We were glad and happy in our second fund that we managed was a seed fund in East and Southern Africa, ASIF. And it was exciting that what we learned is enormous. Improving yields, we don't need much. But are we doing the right inputs there? Infrastructure, there's a lot happening. Markets, there's a lot happening. But collectively, can we have the efficiencies required in some of these inputs for us to be able to make meaningful impact for the smallholder farmers to improve? Today, with technology, even in Kampala, you can order for hybrid seed using technology, go onto the app, Farmnera will get the seed on the bus to Arua within the next less than 24 hours. And you'll have the hybrid seed arriving in Arua with all the various checks and balances done. So there is things that we can do. Think about interventions in infrastructure and the public sector. We are talking about climate change and all the various things that come with it. Think about the realities of Sub-Saharan Africa has 35 times the land size of Texas. Just give a thought of what that means. But then just go back and think about climate change. And we can talk and talk about climate change the whole day, the whole night, the whole week, the whole month, the whole year. But realistically, when are we in Uganda going to be able to predict the next drop of rain? When actually, what's happening here in terms of weather stations and whether they even function? We have such scenarios where it's very, very tough that we don't have the right systems and processes in place. Our previous speakers have said a lot about systems and processes and policies and interventions. I will go to this slide where I thought, from experience, I'll be able to mention strongly that interventions and investments in the agribusiness space can make not only meaningful changes in the agribusiness or SMEs that we actually invest in, but also in other sectors that work with these SMEs. And this is why I brought up this slide. Again, very well researched around poverty eradication. It's not an unknown fact that about 70 to 80% of most of the African population is going to indirectly or directly depend on agriculture. When you come to Uganda here, it's even more. When it comes to the people in the room, Edward rightly said, we are standing between your way, between the summit itself and your lunch. And that lunch has made its way all the way to Sheraton from so many smallholder farmers across Uganda. I'm not sure how many of us think about how many of those smallholder farmers are actually having a meaningful social life, are able to get their children beyond UPE, or are able to actually get their ways and ends meeting. So, again, can we invest in agriculture? Is it going to be the commercial bank loans at 20% growing the agriculture sector? We'll hear that in the afternoon. I don't know. I personally think we've got to still change and do things a little bit differently. Now, as I sum up some of the points from my slides, I want to share a little bit about what some of us have done. And I think on this slide, I'll proudly say thank you to some of our impact investors, like AGRA, the European Union, NSSF lately, IFAD, and many of our other investors that have made it possible for us to introduce impact investing in agribusiness and agriculture-based impact investment funds, not only in Uganda, but in the East African region over the last 15 to 20 years. This has been exciting because it has enabled us, as Pearl Capital, introduce a new model to this market of financing agri-SMEs. We've in total, over the last 18 years, looked at made investments in about 49 agribusinesses. Out of every 10 investments or leads SME agribusinesses we look at, we invest in one. And that means it's a ratio of 1 to 10. So what happens to the other 9 we don't invest in? A lot that goes on. Lately, we are seeing other distress funds that reach out to say, can you give us your rejection list so that we can support those SMEs as well? But what's very, very important is that we are also seeing introductions of interventions around BDS support, technical assistance, as Edward will mention later on, where we've seen many agri-SMEs in this country and the region prosper. That is our history, and that's what we've done as Pearl Capital Partners, the business I own and manage. In terms of what exactly needs to be done, in terms of what's going to be the next steps to actually make the various interventions.
Is your go-to website for exclusive content with in-depth stories, analysis, and detailed coverage. Sign up with these quick and easy steps. Visit www.monitor.co.ug. Sign up for free for a limited period of time with either Facebook or Google. Or you can enter your email address, password, followed by your phone number. Click Sign Up. You are now a registered user. Your privacy will be protected when you share information with us. This registration is part of our effort to understand our audiences and make better business decisions to serve you better. For any queries, please contact us on 0312 301 230 or email us at customercareug@ug.nationmedia.com. Monitor, powered by Nation. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to Nobel.
Internet is not only important, but is part of us now. We use it in our studies, at work, home, and while going about our daily errands. However, an inconsistent internet connection is common and can be frustrating. But the good news is, we are here to the rescue. At Rock Telecom, we strive to promote integrity, dependability, innovation, customer service, and open-mindedness. Visit our website www.rocktelecom.co.ug for more information. Rock Telecom. Rock Telecom is licensed by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with Rwandair today. Rwandair, the safest airline in Africa.
Rwandair, fly the dream of Africa.
So we pick travelers, our typical customers are people flying in and out of the country. So we pick those from the airport to wherever they're going and back. And we do this through a network of driver partners for whom we give regular business and improve livelihoods. They can book through WhatsApp, they can call us, they can email us. We just try to make it as simple and convenient, as seamless as possible for our customers.
What is creating shared value all about? CSV is short for Creating Shared Value. It is a powerful business management concept that can promote companies to think differently about their approach to social and environmental issues. It is a strategy for addressing society's challenges through profitable business models. It's all about policies and practices that enhance the competitiveness of companies while improving social and environmental conditions in the regions in which they operate. CSV is not CSR. Creating shared value goes beyond philanthropy or corporate social responsibility.